How's it going, everyone? So I haven't made a review in a while, but hopefully with 2014 upon us, I'll get to my reviews more frequently and often as I see them. And the new year has kind of started off slow because I haven't really been intrigued by anything in theaters, but How's it going, everyone? So I haven't made a review in a while. How's it going, everyone? So I haven't made a review in a decent while, but hopefully with the new year upon us, I get to my reviews more frequently and often as I'd like. But 2014 has kind of been a slow year so far because I haven't wanted to see anything. But late, How's it going, everyone? I haven't made a review in a long time, but hopefully with the new year upon us, I start getting to them more frequently as I watch them. And 2014 has been a slow start to the year because I haven't been intrigued by anything in theaters yet. But last week, Jack Ryan came into theaters, and it was the first movie I wanted to see of the year. And so, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit stars Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, Kevin Costner, and Kenneth Branagh. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And essentially just shows the very beginnings of the CIA agent named Jack Ryan and kind of gives you an idea of what prepared him to become the agent he is by going back to his very first mission of sorts and taking you through it. And this film really isn't that much. How do I put this? How's it going, everyone? So I haven't made a review in a decent while, but hopefully with the new year, I start getting back to it more frequently as I'd like. And the new year brings us the first release I want to see, which is Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, which stars Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, Kenneth Branagh, and I guess if you want, Kevin Costner. And it essentially just introduces you to Jack Ryan, the character, and takes you back to the very beginning of when his career started and showing you kind of what prepared him to become the super agent he becomes later on in the novels and future movies. And it's not necessarily an original film by any means, nor does it really try to, but it does enough right to not make you kind of roll your eyes. I mean, there's specific scenes. I don't like the way I'm doing this review. How's it going, everyone? I haven't made a review in a while, but hopefully with 2014 upon us, I do them more frequently and regularly as I... How's it going, everyone? I haven't made a review in a while, but with 2014 upon us, hopefully I make them more consistently as I'd like to. And 2014 brings the first release I wanted to see, which was Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, which stars Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, Kenneth Branagh, and Kevin Costner. And it introduces you to the character Jack Ryan and goes back to the very beginnings and shows you how he became the agent he will become later on in future movies and in the novels. And it kind of shows you him as this like amateur, not used to this type of pressure, intense scenarios, and having so many lives on the line. This movie isn't original by any means. It does a lot of things you are familiar with action movies and spy movies, and they decide to use the Russians as the enemy in this movie, and to kind of update it to more modern times instead of it being like some type of bomb or some just hostage scenario. It's more about technology and kind of collapsing the U.S. dollar so that that way they can get rich and destroy the U.S. economy and kind of send us into what Jack Ryan says would be the second Great Depression. It's not it's not ever intelligent when it's going through the plot. It dumbs it down so you understand it, and it doesn't really let you think for itself. There's certain scenes that work, certain scenes that I like, but there's plenty of scenes that make me roll my eyes and kind of not just enjoy it, but want the movie to end. My biggest problem is with Kenneth Branagh. I don't know if, because he's the director of this movie as well, I don't know if it was the correct thing to have him star as the villain too, because I don't know if he's trying to pay a homage to all the the villains of 80s action movies, but he might as well be holding a cat and stroking it because he has blaring Russian orchestra playing in any scene he's in. It's ridiculous. And he sets himself up as the bad guy in front of Chris Pine immediately and seems to not care about the consequences of that. And then there's plenty of times where he can fix his problem with Jack Ryan, and he kind of just decides to play games with him, and it's just mind-numbingly bad in terms of that. The other thing I don't really like is Keira Knightley. I like her as an actress. I enjoyed watching her in this movie. I think she's a cute, adorable actress, but I also think she's a good one, so I don't understand why they didn't really give her character anything to do except for play the damsel in distress. And a lot of the scenarios involved with the CIA and their planning was ridiculous, and it's really dumbed down, and I don't understand how they want you to accept this as a CIA officiated mission. And but the character of Jack Ryan, I did like a lot of his firsts. The first time he killed somebody, the first time he's put in a pressure situation, and how he responds to it, and a lot of that was cool to see, and seeing him develop into the character that he might become. But that's the problem. You're just basing it off of future installments that you've seen of the character, and you know where it leads to. But the thing is, a lot of it feels a little rushed because he's been an analyst for 10 years for this firm on Wall Street, and he's just obviously undercover as CIA, but he can quickly handle motorcycles and driving them as much as he wants, and guns and shooting, and just a whole bunch of things that make him this elite agent, but it never actually goes through the background of it, because at the very beginning, when it takes its time developing, it only shows him recovering from a helicopter crash. And I get that, I guess his marksmanship comes from his times in the Marine, but it's been 10 years. I would assume he's a little rusty. I mean, he doesn't even get a gun. They give it to him about 50 minutes into the movie, and he kind of is a little thrown off by it. And so a lot of this combines to make a story that, while not very original and a little bit dumbed down at times, it's kind of forgettable. It's very harmless. It's not a movie that makes you hate it, but there's nothing to really enjoy a whole lot about it. It's just a movie that's there, and a few months from now, I'm sure I'll forget about it, you'll forget about it, and all of Hollywood will forget about it, and that planned sequel they're going for is probably out the window now that it hasn't made very much money in January. But with all that said, I am going to give Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit a C, and it was kind of disappointing. I wanted to kind of enjoy it and give it kind of like a B, and maybe it could be this underrated gem of January, but it's a completely forgettable film and an otherwise completely forgettable month so far. So if you enjoyed my review, guys, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.